Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a challenge that, let's face it, almost everyone has to deal with: project management. It doesn't matter if it's in your job title or not, we've all been thrown into the deep end of a new project. So today, we're going to figure out how to swim, not sink. You know that feeling, right? This big new initiative lands on your desk. It's exciting, it's full of potential, but it's also just pure chaos. And suddenly, you're the accidental project manager, trying to build the plane while it's already taking off. It's overwhelming. And this quote from Bernard Werber? It just nails the reason why it feels so chaotic. Think about it. With so many ways for simple communication to go wrong, everybody on the team is starting with a slightly different movie playing in their head. That's the core of the problem we need to solve.
Well, the good news is, there is. We've dug into the fantastic French guide, Pro Ingestion de Project, and pulled out a practical, no-nonsense toolbox. It's a step-by-step process that you can use to bring real structure and, honestly, sanity to any project, right from day one.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle that feeling of chaos head-on. Then, we're going to get to the heart of the project. After that, we'll figure out how to structure the what of the project, build its skeleton, and finally, put it all together into a blueprint you can actually use. Let's get into it.
All right, part one. You know, the very first step isn't about solving anything. It's just about admitting that starting out in a fog of chaos is totally normal. The goal isn't to magically avoid that feeling, but to have a clear process ready to go that can guide you right through it.
And that brings us to the first, most important rule of this whole process, captured perfectly by this old proverb. To fight chaos, you have to do one simple thing: write it down. It's the only way to create a single shared source of truth that everyone can see and agree on.
Okay, so with that golden rule in our back pocket, write things down. Let's get practical. This next bit is all about capturing that very first spark of an idea and getting everyone to nod their heads and say, yes, that is what we're trying to do.
And the first tool in our toolbox for this is something called the request profile. Honestly, this thing is your best friend when you're staring at a blank page. It's just a simple one-page snapshot that forces the person asking for the project to get their own thoughts in order. What do they need? What are their goals? What do they expect?
Let's see how this works with a real-world example. So, a metallurgy company had dropping sales. The need was clear. They had to innovate. The goal became, let's create an innovation team. And just by filling out this simple form, that vague idea turned into a formal decision. It created a clear go signal for everyone. See? Chaos becomes commitment.
But, and this is a big but, a clear idea isn't automatically a good idea. So the very next step is what's called an opportunity study. It's really just a quick common sense check to make sure the project is actually worth the time, money, and effort. Is this thing we're about to do actually worth doing? Okay, so we've got a clear idea and we've decided it's worth pursuing. Now it's time to add some meat to the bones. We're moving away from the high-level why, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty details of what we're actually going to build or do. Now, to define the what, there are two key documents, and it's so important to get them in the right order. First, you have the statement of need. This is all about the problem from the user's point of view. It's the why and the what without jumping to a solution. Then, that document feeds into the specifications. This is the technical blueprint. It's the how. Get that sequence right, and you're already way ahead of the game.
So where do you get the right details for those documents? Well, I can tell you where you don't get them. From sitting behind your desk. The key is to get out there and do what the French call an audit terrain, a field audit. You go and you watch how people actually work and see what problems they're really running into.
For instance, a manager for a window company did this for their trade show booth. They didn't guess, they went and observed. And what did they find? The booth's location, high traffic, awesome, keep it. The posters, eye-catching but way too wordy. Let's simplify them. Some of the sales team, they were sitting down, not engaging. That's a coaching moment right there. This is how you ground your plan in cold, hard reality.
So we have our why and our what. Now it's time to build the skeleton. This is the structure that's going to hold the whole thing together. We're talking about who does what, by when, and of course, how much it's all going to cost.
And let's be real for a second. This question right here, this is the project killer, isn't it? It's a #1 reason things fall through the cracks. Everyone thinks someone else is taking care of it. Well, there is a beautifully simple tool that completely eliminates this problem.
And that tool is the RACI matrix. It sounds a little corporate, but it is so clear. For every single task, you assign a letter. R is for responsible, that's the person actually doing the work. A is for accountable, the one person who ultimately owns the outcome. C is for consultant, the people you need to get input from. And I is for informed, the people you just need to keep in the loop. Look at the chart. To create the design, the designer is responsible, but the client is accountable. Boom, no more confusion.
And to finish off our project skeleton, we just need 2 more pieces. First, a simple financing plan to track our costs, and second, clearly defined project committees. Basically, who gets to make the big decisions.
And just like that, we've done it. We've taken a chaotic, messy idea and turned it into a solid, well-structured project plan. So let's wrap this up and look at the final blueprint for success.
If you walk away from this explainer with only one thing, please let it be these 3 steps. 1. Define the initial demand with a request profile. 2. Structure that need with detailed specifications based on what's actually happening in the real world. And 3. Build the project structure with a RACI matrix so everyone knows their job.
And that's really the big secret here. Project management isn't magic. It's not some innate talent. It's just about having a good process, a reliable toolbox, and following it one step at a time to build clarity out of chaos.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. On your very next project, what's the first step you'll take to bring a little more structure to the table? Will you fill out a request profile? Will you build a quick RACI chart? What's the one thing you can do to bring a little bit more clarity to your world? Thanks for watching.